Welcome back to Let's Play Corruption of Champions episode 9. Well, in the last episode we had a lot of mistakes and we managed to do the pony event after a lot of trial and error. And unfortunately Peach is not with me today. Today I will be doing this solo, mainly because I'm trying to keep up to the sex scenes that I had to skip a lot. So let's continue the game. And if you missed the last episode, our character is now a pony. I'm not even kidding, seriously. The things that I forgot to mention in the last episode was that we gain a follower. The follower is Rasazul. Rasazul has no such things whatsoever tied to him, but he does have his own uses and they are quite useful. This is the new thing. Anytime you get a new follower, you will always get a message that tells you about what they are doing. Tucked into a shaded corner of the rocks and is a bevy of alchemical devices and equipment. The alchemist Rathazu looks to be hard at work with his chemicals, working on who knows what. And this is the followers menu. Followers menu, you can access whichever follower that you have with you at the moment. Rathazu apparently is one of our followers, and he can do something for us. Rathazu looks up from his equipment and gives you an uncertain smile. Don't mind me, don't mind me, he says. I'm just running some tests. Was, was there something you needed, Arkham? He pipes up a bit, with an excitement in his voice. 5? With 5 pieces of slime gel, I could make you another suit of armor. Razzle offers, Razzle offers. Since you have enough gems to cover the cost for materials of my dyes as well, you could buy one of my dyes for your hair. I will need 50 gems up front. Well, let's buy some dyes. Even though dyes are practically useless, but I would like to have my white hair back. So, white gem. Thank you. Let's throw away the pipe. Inventory and white dye. You rub the dye onto your short, sandy blonde hair, then use a bucket of cool lake water to rinse. Rinse clean after a few minutes later. You now have short white hair. The cool water calms your urges somewhat, letting you think more clearly. Well, that was pleasant. Now let's explore the desert. This is something that we have already experienced before, so never mind. Oh. While roaming the shifting sands of the desert, you begin to feel a change in the air. The bone-dry atmosphere shifts, becoming more and more humid as you press on. At last, you crest a dune and discover the source of the moisture. A huge onyx fountain, spraying crystal clear water into the air. The center of the fountain is a magnificent sculpture of two entwined demonic forms, nude over the over proportionate to the extreme. The water is spraying out from some rather unconventional places. You blush, feeling a bit parched, but weary of the fountain's nature. You come closer and discover a placard that it reads, Fountain of Endowment. Well, clearly it is supposed to enhance something, but what's the cost? Do you drink from the fountain? Interesting. Yes. You cup your hands together and bring the clear water to your lips, taking a long drink. It's cool and refreshing, going down quite easily. Weird, you thought it'll make you feel different somehow. Explore. While exploring the desert, you see a shimmering tower in the distance. As you rush towards it, it vanishes completely. It was a mirage. You sigh, depressed, and aim on at wasting your time. The sky darkens. Good night. Since my body is that of a pony, can I clop? You still can't reach to masturbate yourself. Being half horse is inconvenient. You look like you'll have to find a partner to relieve your pent up need, but in your current state, you'll probably be in the receiving end of whatever you get. Let's go to the lake, see if we can find anything. A regular whisker fruit, so fuck it. Let's go to the forest. You enjoy a peaceful walk in the wood. It gives you time to think about the recent and disturbing events. Of course, same thing. A goblin saunters out of the bushes with dangerous glint in her eye. She says, "Time to get fucked, stud." Well, we've done everything of this before, and I accidentally clicked that. Sorry. While exploring, startle, you're startled by the feeling of tiny hands stroking the inside of your thighs. You look down to find Tamani there, grinning wolfishly. Ready for another fuck, big boy? Hmm. Oh well, let's just let her do whatever she wants. You make me undress and ask Tamani how she would like to take you today. She titters and gives your white flat-tipped horse member a quick kiss before pushing hard against you, shoving you onto the ground and flashing her a brilliant smile. Just lie there and take it, stud. She commands. She gets down on all fours, crawling up your legs until her gloss-covered lips reach your white animalistic stallion prick. Warm wetness slides along your length as the the gobble slut gets gets you slick gets you slick and wet with her saliva. It has quite an effect on you, turning your flat horsecock into a heart-trembling pleasure center. You sigh, enjoying the attention, but more than ready to release your pent-up sexual need into the willing girl. Tamani turns about, dragging her wet gash across you, giving you a nice view of her plump butt cheeks. The soft skin of her palm squeeze around you as she lifts you up, positioning your distended equine dong against her womanhood. She grinds against your flat tip. Her folds slowly parting to take you. Slowly, inch after inch, the dick flesh sinks into her amazingly elastic, yet tight pussy. Her body visibly stretches around you, and you silently thank the whatever gods or demons adapted goblins to be able to fulfill this role. Moaning like a horse, she easily slips the rest of the way down, bottoming out her sopping wet fuck tunnel. You gasp in pain and surprise. Tamani pinches and tugs both your nipples. She eases up her grip a bit when she sees how bad it hurts. But but she does not release them. The noisy squelching of her cunt fucking you draws your attention back to your groin. Your body begins thrusting up to meet her. Finally, understanding is on the receiving end of the passionate screw. Your nipples burn with pain as the goblin twists and pulls them, abusing them, pleasure and pain mix. mixed together, overwhelming you, reducing your world into little more than the slap of genitalia against uh, genital against genital, and the painful torture happening to your chest. Tamani plays with your body like a fiddle, keeping you near the edge as she noisily orgasms over your shaft again and again. You can tell she's starting to tire. She gives you a kind look and begins to pick up tempo. She whispers softly, "Go ahead, cream my honeypot until I can barely walk." That's all the encouragement you need. Your duo of grapefruit-sized gonads twitch powerfully, venting their contents, releasing jet of hot cum into the goblin. Tamani wriggles happily, giving your nipples one last tweak before releasing them to play with her own. Rope after rope of your goopy jism paints the inside of her canal. The happy slut only begged for more the whole time. Sadly, you don't. You only manage a few more squirts before your orgasm ends. Suddenly, the sudden draft of cold air blows across your suddenly released member, making you shiver. You look over to Nani, watching your seat run down her thighs as she primps her hair and does a quick touch up of her makeup. She finishes. She finishes and blows you a kiss, bidding you farewell. I'll be back for more. I'll be back for more if this one doesn't take. I really enjoy a fuck stud, but I can't wait to bump into you again. Let's go to the mountain. While exploring the mountain, you come across a relatively safe way to get to its higher reaches. You judge with this route you'll be able to go about 2/3 of the way up the mountain. With your newfound discovery fresh in your mind, you return to camp. Let's go to the mountain. When exploring the mountain, you find a cleverly concealed doorway. From inside, you can hear sounds of blades sharpening. Do you enter the doorway? Yes. You step inside the cave and are greeted by the sight of a sight that you didn't expect. The cave floor is covered with smooth wood paneling, and the walls are nearly entirely covered with hanging mirrors. A few static, the few stalactites you have hooks drilled into them, from from which hang hundreds of scissors, shears, razors, combs, and other hair-styling implements. It reminds you of a hair cutter shop in your hometown. There are a few chairs along the wall, and goblin with latex dress and gloves, looking bored. At the sight of you, they perk up and clamor around you excitedly until one with the gravity defying chest pushes them pushes them apart and greets you. I apologize for my daughter. She she says she says she says as she presses herself against you. They're a bunch of brainless hussies for the most part. My name is Lin Lynette. Lynette. Lynette, I think. I think it's pronounced Lynette. And welcome to my saloon. You want your hair cut or lengthened? We've we've got you covered. But we don't ask for much, just a shot of cum. I'll even do you a favor by of letting you blow it in my mouth. I've already got I've already got a bun in the oven. So what do you say? Want a spooge for a haircut, or would you rather get your payment from me? Or would you rather get your payment from one of the glory holes in the back? You kinky boy. In in the very back of the saloon, you can see boarded up walls with holes cut in it, some of which are certainly plugged by various monstrous penises. Do you let the goblin blow you, or do you suck payment from them? Well, we clearly don't need anything for the moment. We don't need haircuts or anything like that, so let's just leave. But it is marked on our places menu. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you this. On the places menu, you can go to specific locations that last time you had to explore, so now you can access them freely. So let's go exploring the swamp. You work your way through the dense foliage of the swamp, pushing aside branches and slogging through the thick mud in search of something new. Feeling exhausted, you slow down and look for a place to rest, finding a small clearing with shallow water, no more than a couple inches deep, and firmer ground. You sit back against the tree to catch your breath. You you're soaked You're so soaked by now that you hardly notice the murky water beneath you and the slick of mud and on the trunk seeping into your glistening gel armor plates. You lean your head back and close your eyes, enjoying the few moments of peace. Your brief respite is disturbed by the sensation of warm beneath warm beneath against your face. You snap you snap your head up to see a humanoid face hanging upside down in front of you, watching intensely watching intensely. Startled, you scramble to your feet, pressing your back against the tree before you have a chance to get a better look at whatever was observing you. It drops from the branch and flips itself over in a whirl, landing on its feet in a crouching position. You're its observer or some lizard-like humanoid, though it appears to have smooth orange skin rather than any sort of scales. Long brown stripes run along its body from ankle to shoulder. The straightness it straightens itself up, allowing you to see is definitively female. She has a slender body with slightly pronounced hips. Her bones her bones easily visible beneath her skin. Her breasts look about B cups. Her arms and legs are a bit longer than than it would be on a human body, and her tail is quite long by lizard standards. Hands are too Her hands too are disproportionately large and look as though they are made to better grip tree and climb trees. The skin in front of the skin of her front side uh, the skin of her front side is a light tan. She looks softer than the rest. A set of long brown horns protrudes forward from her forehead. She she's hardly clothed, wearing only thick silken cloth tied around her back to hide her chest and a thong tied to her hip, cut of the same material. Her long thin tongue hangs out from her slightly parted mouth. She licks her lips grotesquely and then slips back into her mouth as she eyes you up and down. After a few moments of this uncomfortable standoff, she speaks. What are you doing in my swamp? She makes she makes what you can only guess is a menacing sneer and snaps her jaws in an attempt at intimidating you. Being being much shorter than you, her intimidation comes off as a bit comical. She tries to puff herself as big as she can, holding her arms out a bit wider. You chuckle at the display, wondering wondering who is she to claim the entire swamp as her own. Her tongue suddenly lashes out and slats against your face. You stagger, hit whipped back by the force of it. When you regain stability, she's crouched and looking to fight, made made more apparent by the claws that have grown out of her fingers. You're you're gonna pay for laughing. I'll show you who is in charge. Her skin seems to be changing, shifting color to match her mood. You step forward from the tree and ready yourself for a fight. You're fighting a chameleon girl. You're faced with a tall lizard-like girl with smooth orange skin and long brown stripes run along her body and from ankle to shoulder. An abnormally large tail swishes behind her. Her her hands are massive for a frame, built for easily climbing trees, and a pair of small cute horns grow from her temples, and a pair of perky bee cups push out through her skimpy drapings. Large large sharp claws cap her fingers, gesturing menacingly at you. Let's just attack her. What? The chameleon girl swings her arms at you, catching you with her claw. You wince as they scratch your skin, leaving cuts in their wake, 80 damage. Oh, I'm weak. Same thing. Same thing. You're too weak to keep fighting. You stagger back, falling to your knees. Recognizing you're in no danger, her skin shifts back to natural orange coloration. As she walks towards you, she swings her hips seductively as she splashes slowly through the water and licks her lips with a loud smack on her tongue, then reaches out to and forcefully pulls your glistening plate armor above your waist before you can even try to resist her advances, and pushes you back against a tree. With a few quick pulls of fabric, she strips away her own clothes. She tosses her tongue over a low-hanging branch. The other band of silk she uses to quickly bind your wrist. Were you in any shape to fight back? You you could pull free, but you're too bad to even rip the makeshift binding. She makes short work of your glistening gel armor plate as her haste to see her prize, then stands up and still looking down. Her let lets her tongue fall out of her mouth to find a way to your wide animalistic stallion prick. An amazing display of control, she manages to wrap her warm pink appendage around your man meat, sliding the slick length of, of her warm tongue up, up, and down your shaft, almost as if massaging you. You shudder softly as she tickles the underside of your cock with just the tip of her tongue trailing sticky saliva around its head. Your member soon is erect, throbbing with meat. Satisfied, she slumps her slender length of muscle back into her mouth. The chameleon girl grips the tree with her right hand and foot. She pulls herself up so that her sex is hanging in front of your face. You're you're trying to stumble out of her reach while she's positioning herself, but she catches your waist with her left hand and forces them over your head into the trunk, grinding the backs of your wrists into it as a means of punishment. Her left leg dangling beside you snaps you back into place against the trunk, with little room to move between her and the tree. You try weakly to struggle free, but grip deceptively but her grip is deceptively strong, as she has you trapped in like a vice. With a groan, you relax and resign yourself to the rape. Dripping, her dripping cunt grinds against your face, clearly wanting for attention. Reflex uh, turns your head away, but immediately she sinks your arms against the rough bark again. You bury your face in her pussy, doing the best you can to eat her out, and move this process along. A sharp gasp fills the air above you. Clearly, she didn't expect your assault on her sex so soon. Her musky scent fills your nose, matching the humid swamp air oddly well. You feel something grip your distended equine dong. You realize that she must have moved her foot onto it. Her toes apparently as skilled at gripping as her fingers. You and the sole of her foot is fortunately covered with the uh same soft skin as her front torso. Still wet still wet and slick from the waters of the swamp. It it glides easily along your cock, her toes working your shaft with impressive dexterity and bringing you more pleasure than you thought possible. A gush of female fluids leak out and drenches your face as she moans, and she pushes herself back. You take a few grateful breaths as she removes her foot and carefully climbs her way down a bit, pulling your bow arms with her so that she now positioned to impale herself with your enormous equine dong. She pieces the head of your cock with a smooth fold of her cunt, swirling around a bit as she creeps forward little by little. By now your need has grown so great that you don't even care that you're being raped. Or she or how she proceeds. The uh only that you must get off. You moan lustily and breaking into a wide smile. The chameleon girl slides herself down your rod, taking you as far as you can go into her. Her eyes go wide as she gasps sharply. She begins panting and gyrating her wide hips as she slides ever so slightly up and down your cock, not pulling herself more than a couple of inches away from you. The the range of motion she is able to put into her hips while holding herself on the trunk of the tree astounds uh of the tree astounds and you watch the girl sway her hips rhythmically left and right, back and forth, around and around, as she's as she slowly as she slowly teases her way mere inches up your shaft, making the same controlled movements on the way back down. You don't know how much of you don't know how much more of this pleasure you can take. You want to ram into her slick cunt where but you're forced to just stand there and feel a very smooth movement of her hips drive you mad with lust. Apparently, the chameleon girl is nearing the breaking point too. A few inches of her a few inches of her tongue loll out of her mouth, with more slipping out every time she pants and moans with pleasure. Her eyes look almost crossed as they stare blankly towards the base of your shaft. Her hips begin to move a bit more erratically as she takes more of you takes more of you into and out of her with each push. Soon she's abandoned. Soon she's abandoned the slow teasing motions, and is just riding up and down your cock, slamming in and out of herself in a desperate attempt to get off. Her breath bounces wildly as her head rolls back, with a bit more of her tongue escaping each time she comes down on you. The pleasure is too great, and you feel as if you could hardly stand another moment. You need to come barrels. You need to come blast into your mind, pushing all other thoughts out. The moans of the girl riding your animalistic stallion prick hardly registers with you as you release your load into her. The chameleon girl pace slow once again, and both of you both both of your breaths come in deeply as each recover from orgasm. She sucks her hanging tongue most of the way back into her mouth, grimacing as she wipes mud off it. Your soft your Your softening member slides out of her and she hops down, legs nearly giving out as she lands. She takes a moment to recuperate before jerking your still bound wrist towards the ground. You collapse, unable to stand any longer. The chameleon girl mutters, "Oh my god, that felt so." She catches herself and she looks back down at you and sneers. Yeah, yeah, and you better not come back to my swamp again. She says between tired breaths as she takes silk from your wrist and dresses herself again. She flashes off through the water, leaving you in silence. You take a while to recover from the experience since before managing the work to uh, up the energy to get out before the mud and back to your camp. You probably come to your senses 8 hours or so, missing 15 gems. Oh great. Well, this is a long episode, so time to say goodbye. Hope to see you guys on special episode 10. Hopefully, if I can do anything special. I mean, I've already done so many things for you guys. So hopefully I can think of something special for episode 10. Bye!